like you said, science would be so much easier if we looked at it through a creation lens.
Yep.
And intelligent design. Everything makes sense. Biology, cosmology, everything's so much more simple, even though we still can't measure the height of the firmament and things like that, the heavens. It all makes a lot more sense. But that scientific method, that one that was drilled into our brains, is now coming in handy, because step one is ask questions. And some of the questions we grew up asking, they were shot down right away with somebody's already has the answer. Here's the answer. And so we're like, okay. And so step two is state your hypothesis. 3 is conduct an experiment. This one's huge. And 4 is analyze the results. 5 is when you make your conclusions. And this is something a lot of us are going back and doing now. And the results are what change everything.
And rinse and repeat whenever you're done to do it again. So there's a quick refresher on what we should be doing and the approach we should be taking. So here's 3 requirements for all proofs we need to keep in mind. 1, it needs to be testable. 2, observable. 3, repeatable. If someone shows you a proof of the globe or anything else and it doesn't meet all 3 of these requirements, then throw it in the trash can and don't waste your time on it. Assumptions, theories, and mathematical equations do not count as proof. If you actually test the globe model, you will see that a lot of it fit into those 3 categories: assumptions, theories, and mathematical equations. And they all build on each other. And so here is a quote for anybody that has never seen the Principle documentary. I would highly recommend it. And we can literally just read this slide and we could just stop, because it says everything you need to know about cosmology from a mainstream science standpoint. So this is Michio Kaku, interesting name. He is a cosmologist, a theoretical physicist, I believe, and he has a couple other titles. I'm sure he's wrote some books too, but he has quite a few titles and a lot of acronyms or letters by his name. So here's what he said in the Principle documentary. Usually in science, if we're off by a factor of 2 or a factor of 10, we call that horrible. We say something's wrong with the theory. We're off by a factor of 10. However, in cosmology, exactly what we're talking about here, we're off by a factor of 10 to the 120. That is 1 with 120 zeros after it. This is the largest mismatch between theory and experiment in the history of science. And I would recommend people just reading that, maybe taking a screenshot and just reading this and just marinating on what the gentleman's sharing, because it's disastrous for the globe model and what they teach. You got anything on that, brother?
Yeah, I mean, it is off, and those numbers just don't seem to do it justice. I think the reason they have any numbers is because there are certain observations outside of things we can experiment with that seem to prove it. But other than that, there's no experimental way to prove it.
No, to prove those assumptions and theories.
Mm-hmm.
So this book is so interesting. It's really a must-have. Method, you need step 1, ask a question. Step 2, state a hypothesis. I'm sorry, I'm French, so I have my accent. Step 3, conduct an experiment. Step 4, analyze the results. And step 5, make a conclusion. Definition of pseudoscience is a system of theories, assumptions, and method erroneously regarded as scientific. I read some part to my children and they laugh with the expression. It shows the personality of the writer, which is funny. It's cool. But if someone just makes a statement that can't be proven by scientific method, that would fall into the pseudoscience basket. If an astrophysicist says the sun is 93 million miles away and they cannot back up that statement with the scientific method, then what they are saying is baloney. I will make it simple for you when it comes to the news. For the most part, the news serves 3 purposes. 1, to push fear. You probably noticed that. 2, continue to cause division, black versus white, left versus right, etc. This describes the spiritual battle going on in the world today and since creation. Because we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against authorities, against the world rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual matters of wickedness in the heavenlies. Because of this, take up the complete armor of Elohim, so that you have power to withstand in the wicked days, and having done all, to stand. The author of Terra Firma described it in his own words. Allow me to call your serious and polite attention to the extraordinary phenomenon demonstrating the rotation of the earth, which I at the present moment experience, and you yourselves and anybody else, I have not the slightest doubt, would be satisfied of under similar circumstances. Some skeptical individuals may doubt that the earth's motion is visible, but I say from personal observation, it is a positive fact. All I know is that I see the ceiling of this coffee room going around. I perceive this distinctly with the naked eye. Only my sight has been sharpened by a slight stimulant. I write after my 6th go of brandy and water, whereof with my hand. So according to Scott, the only time the earth spins is when you have had one too many of those adult beverages. Okay, comedy hour is over, folks. It's time to get serious. Let's talk about science. You know, pseudoscience. As sprites are a naturally occurring phenomenon where the firmament lights up, or sprites solid proof that confirm close cosmology, as would suggest to you that they are. And here it gives like, and Elohim said, let a firmament come to be in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters. And Elohim made the firmament and separated the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it came to be so. And Elohim called the firmament heavens, and there came to be evening, and there came to be morning the second day. Don't buy into the lies that the moon is really far away. If it really is 238,000 miles away, then how can we on a clear night look up and see the moon in such great detail? You can focus in with your eyes on different craters. That should not be possible. That alone is proof the moon is local. The picture on the left was taken with a Nikon Coolpix P1000 super zoom camera, aka the globe killer. Apparently the picture was a super zoom world record at the time. I own a Nikon P900 and it's a great camera. I have zoomed in on the moon on many nights. But the P900 and P1000 are not that good. They can't zoom in over 200,000 miles away. And I, John, saw the set-apart city, renewed Jerusalem, coming down out of the heaven from Elohim, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Revelation 21:2, New Jerusalem will not be a spaceship that flies down the earth from deep in outer space. It will come down from heaven above and nestle down on Yah's stationary earth. Another verse that doesn't make sense, on a spinning ball. Believing in the globe model causes problems when trying to understand scripture, including eschatology. Go ask someone that believes in both scripture and the globe model. Where is heaven? Sounds like a simple question to answer, but it's not if you read scripture through the globe model lens, right? Why? Because mainstream science teaches that we are a small speck in a vast, ever-expanding universe. This false teaching causes misunderstanding of heaven and where it is. It's right above us, and there's plenty of scripture to back this up. We already covered the possibility of a fake alien invasion or an invasion of demons in the last chapter, so that is not necessary here.